As Chief Presiding Officer for Giffnock Central, I just thought I would thank you, Glenn. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and may I offer my personal welcome to you all and my enormous respect for our veterans here this evening. World War II was the bloodiest, deadliest war the world has ever seen. More than 55 million people died. Many of them were innocent civilians, men, women, children, babies. Millions more suffered physical and mental scars for many years after. It was the most destructive war in history. Fighting raged in many parts of the world. More than 50 nations took part in the war, which changed the world and the geography of nations forever. If ever Robert Burns' phrase, "man's inhumanity to man," was more evident, then World War II would take mankind to new levels of barbarity, depravity, wickedness and evil, using science, technology and engineering to kill human beings in the most sadistic and clinical way. Some of the best engineering minds in the world would build factories to murder millions of people and make money from every part of their bodies and belongings. This was murder and theft on the most colossal scale. Railway engineers would build a superb rail system that brought millions of people hundreds of miles in unspeakable cattle truck conditions to their deaths. Eminent doctors like Joseph Mengele, who thought nothing of trying to knit twins together and treating human beings as experiments, discarding them like rags when the experiments didn't work in his dream of building the master race. Some of the most brilliant scientists, headed by Werner von Braun, developed the V1 and V2 bombs that were so destructive in attacking southern England, and after World War I, his team would ironically help get the United States to the moon. More threateningly for the world than all of this, Robert Oppenheimer developed the atomic bomb that the US President Harry Truman would use against the Japanese. The successful use of atomic weaponry secured the United States as the absolute and only superpower and took the world to a new and dangerous precipice. In summary, Britain had a moral claim in the world as the only nation that stood against Hitler for 2 years. Britain provided the world with a moral compass and leadership against the Nazis at a time when every other European nation had been subjugated. The British servicemen who fought so bravely and were supported so magnificently by the British people forged a unity of purpose and a strength of conviction that made the famous war correspondent J.P. Priestley claim that the British people were at their greatest during World War II. Much has been made of the fact that Britain made an enormous financial price for World War II and took decades to repay the loans. But I believe this misses the point that the British people had high moral values which they were determined to uphold, and they simply couldn't or wouldn't stomach the subjugation or tyranny that the Nazi occupation demanded. To that end, may I finish by stealing a couple of lines from the Declaration of Arbroath, which I hope resonates with the views of the British people during World War II. It is in truth not for glory, nor riches, nor honours that we are fighting, but for freedom, for that alone, which no honest man gives up, but with his life itself. Thank you very much.